Good evening. I'd like to call to order the council meeting of August 26th. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Councilmember Dunbar. Councilmember Garza. Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Spatafor. Councilmember Spitzley. Councilmember Washington. Councilmember Wood.
Here.
There are seven members present. A quorum. Councilmember Spatafor is absent.
And we will be excusing him later in the evening. He does have an excused absence.
We are to the meditation and pledge of allegiance.
This is an opportunity to reflect. I'd like us, if we could, please remember the Beverly Bywater, whose family is the Kissy family. Lyle Kissy, who many of you might know, was a West Sider for a number of years. His mother passed away on August 20th, and so her memorial service was today. And if we could remember that family in our prayers. Is there anyone else that someone would like remembered at this time? Not? If we could please rise. Thank you. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have for your approval the printed council proceedings of August 12th.
And with that, Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval of the minutes from August 12th, 2019.
We have a motion on the minutes. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes unanimously. At this time, and I don't see anyone here for our special tribute.
Okay, then we are to comments by council members and the city clerk.
Do we have any council member comments this evening? Councilmember Jackson, then Councilmember Washington.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank Councilwoman Spitzley for covering the Fourth Ward Constituent Contact meeting last Saturday. I heard that you had a great conversation, and I appreciate that. In my absence, being able to, hold it down so that we don't have to cancel a time. I also want to remind everybody of our next meeting, which is next month on September 28th at Gregory's from 10 to 12. And that's 2510 North MLK. We talk about anything Fourth Ward or City of Lansing related. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to announce my First Ward Constituent Contact meeting, which will be held Saturday, September 7th. It's from 10 a.m. till noon. It is at the Board of Water and Light Depot on South Washington, right by the railroad tracks. Council President Wood will actually be hosting that meeting, but Dick Peffley, the CEO of Board of Water and Light, will be there because we've had a lot of concerns regarding the increase in rates and the smart meters, and we will also be discussing other city-related matters, and Mayor Shore is going to try to be there also to help address some of the issues that I've been hearing as I've been out in the First Ward. So if you can't get there at 10, come anyway. If you have to leave before noon, please come. And children are welcome. Please don't stay away because of children. So I hope everybody can make it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other council member comments at this time? Seeing none, I first have a question for the mayor's office, Mayor Shore. We have been receiving calls in our office. We've been discussing the blue bag issue. Apparently, there have been people that have attempted to sign up for the carts who have been told that they're not able to sign up for the carts yet. And the information they're getting is that you haven't made up your mind yet, and so that they're not able to sign up. Now, the last constituent that we had call the office today indicated that her mother can't find blue bags and now can't get a card. So can you shed some light on that, please?
Well, that's interesting.
Okay.
Because we have had people call our office also. The answer is we have put out what the plan is going to be. The question that we have been getting in our office is more about the biweekly service. And the answer that Mark Lawrence has been giving to people is that we are moving to biweekly, but we are not ready for that yet. The bags are still available. I'll tell you honestly, a few weeks ago, I tried to find bags and couldn't find them because many of the stores were sold out. We do have a supply and we do get them to the stores. The bags are available. You have to, literally I had to call 4 different quality dairies before I was able to find bags. So the bags are out there and they will be through the end of the year. Anybody can sign up for the bins. I signed up myself. My wife called and they said as soon as you give us your credit card on file, there will be a bin delivered to your house, and it was delivered 3 days later. So the bins are available. The biweekly service is not ready yet because we are ordering different colored lids for the biweekly service, and that will be available probably November or December by the end of the year. And that's the question. We get that a lot. Well, I'm signing up for the service. How come I can't get the biweekly service? And the answer is we gave a discount, basically half on the first quarter, so that way people are still paying what they were before. And then if they want to move to the biweekly, they'll be able to do that for the next quarter. So you sign up for this quarter, you get the discounted rate, so that way you're getting basically what you will be getting with the biweekly, and then you can move to the biweekly. If you call and you say you want that, they will take your name down and they will let you know when that is available. But there's confusion because people think it's ready right now, and it's not because we're ordering different colored lids for those collections. But if anybody calls and asks for a bin, they're getting them. I know it. My wife called, and the woman basically said, as soon as you give us your credit card and it's charged for the first month, for the first quarter, you'll have it. We had it, and we put it out last week. So anyone who's got confusion, they can call. Mark knows all of this information. They can call my office. Mark can share that with Sherry, and she can give that information out. We have flyers from public service that are online, and then we can provide to people. So that information is all available.
And I believe that's where the confusion is the bi-weekly.
Yep, that's it.
People are trying to sign up for that, and apparently that's not ready. And what they're being told at some of the stores is they don't want to purchase additional bags if they're going to be stuck with those bags. So it was our understanding, and I believe it was the information that went out, was that as of July 1st, we weren't selling any more bags to stores.
I don't believe that's true. We'll bring that up. I can bring up the
Okay.
press release we put out, but I believe we said end of the year. I believe
They
we said
would
we
be
were-
continued to
yeah.
be collected till the end of the year.
We were going to exhaust our supply of bags. So we actually have many bags left that we were going to sell through the end of the year also. I'll look at the press release, but
So if we could, I think there's some miscommunication, so if we could follow up on that.
I'll pull it up right now.
Thank you. Councilmember Washington.
Are you able to do this if you don't have a credit card? A lot of folks
Yes.
don't have.
Yeah. However, I say credit card, that's how we did it. However you pay, however you normally pay. And low-income folks get a low-income rate that they've been getting for many years. So you have a low-income qualified rate. Again, however you pay, I say credit card because that's how we pay. But however somebody pays, as soon as they pay for the first quarter, they get the bin.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. Is there another repository other than the quality dairies? Like, are we selling them out of public service or
There's a-
somewhere else that they can get the bags other than quality dairy?
There's a whole list on the website.
Okay.
There's a list of stores on the public service website. Quality Dairy is just what I've gone to.
Oh, okay.
But,
I just thought that's what.
again, you go on a Saturday or Sunday and public service may not be open.
They are sold at public service?
I think so. I don't have it memorized. I'll see if I can find that also for you.
All right, thank you. So then that goes to the clerk's office.
Thank you, President Wood. Just want to make sure folks are aware that we are out this week on LCC's campus getting folks registered to vote. We will be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Outside, or depending on the weather, maybe just inside of the Arts and Sciences building. So look for us, looking to get young folks and anyone who happens to be passing by registered to vote for both the council elections later this year as well as the big presidential year next year. With that, we are to community event announcements. If anyone in the audience has a community event, you have 1 minute we'll give you a minute to tell us the details.
Can't see anyone.
Seeing none. Okay, we are to speaker registration for public comment on legislative matters. That's the blue sheet in the back if you wish to address the public hearings or any of the items listed for action by City Council tonight. We'll give you just a couple more seconds to get signed in if you haven't already. And so with that, we are to the mayor's comments.
Mayor Shore.
All right, first I'd like to follow up on our just a second ago. The press release says we'll phase out the use of city trash bags by the end of 2019. The bags will continue to be sold to residents while supplies last. City collection crews will pick up city trash bags placed at residents' curbside through the end of December. So it says bags are available while supplies last. There was no July date in here. And then it says residents who choose to sign up for every week trash cart service collection by September 30th will receive a $20 discount. So I think I said half, so that may have been off a little bit. $20 discount for their first quarter's bill. Carts will be provided with collection service. A reduced rate will also be offered for every week 32-gallon trash collection services. Additionally, the city will introduce a biweekly collection option for 32-gallon carts later this year. This will provide an affordable option for those who do not generate much trash. So we can have this press release provided to each of you. If you did not get it, you don't need it. All right. Anybody who needs it, we can provide them the press release, but the information was all in there along with the different pricing. If that's not being clearly shared with residents, we'll make sure that our public service staff is a little more clear. Again, with the complaints, the questions that we have been getting in my office has been more about the biweekly. And that will be available, we think, by the end, I think we said by the end of the year. So the end of the year, as soon as we get the different colored lids. Outside of that, and Councilwoman Spitzley, I'll get you the list. I know I've seen it, so I'll get you the list. Yeah, yep, happy to do that. So in terms of events coming up, we've got the Rotary Park ribbon cutting. For those who don't remember, Rotary Park is the newest park in Lansing. We have a beach and a lighted forest and tables and stuff like that. None of it done through taxpayer dollars. This is all being, in essence, donated through partners. And that ribbon cutting will be Wednesday at noon, which is different than the original date, but it's the rain date, and we expected rain, so we're going to the rain date. But all are welcome. That should be really cool. Let's see. There's a community event at the new Eastern Field on Thursday, which is the community event is at 5 p.m., and then all are welcome to stay as Eastern takes on Owasso in football. Want to remind everybody that city offices are closed on Monday for Labor Day, so please don't come to City Hall on Monday because the city offices are closed. Also, I want to congratulate Joan Jackson Johnson and our HRCS staff on a very successful mobile food pantry and on the nonprofit success with the Connect for Kids event. There were over 6,000 people there, and folks are being served, and it's always a great event for those of need in our community. So great job to city staff and to all involved with Connect for Kids, which is an incredible group of nonprofit partners. That's what I've got.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, we are to public comment on legislative matters, and in addition to the items listed for council action tonight, we have the following two public hearings. Number one, Brownfield Plan Number 76, the Farnham Building redevelopment project at 123 West Allegan Street. And number two, an ordinance to amend Chapter 288, Section 288.21 to provide minimum qualifications for a chief strategy officer.
Councilmember Hussein, if you take the first public hearing.
Sure. So this is in consideration of Brownfield Plan Number 76, the Farnham Building redevelopment project at 123 West Allegan Street. The project includes $20 million of investment. This is in order to rehab a 10-story building at 123 West Allegan into Class A office space. I do appreciate a number of representatives here actually with the Boji Group and Allegan Street LLC in order to, obviously hear comments and concerns and things of that nature from the public. In any event, history of this building, it was constructed in 1959. It has been vacant since 2016 when the Senate moved out. This was sold to Allegan Street LLC in 2018. The Boji Group is the developer. The owner is again, the Allegan Street LLC. Per the plan, $2.8 million of the $20 million in investment is eligible for tax capture. Tax capture period would be 21 years. The eligible activities include interior demo, asbestos abatement, infrastructure improvements, and the like. The building is currently considered functionally obsolete, so we are receiving no property taxes as of today. There's a 10% pass-through. This property is actually in the Tifa district, so that means that 10% of the new property taxes generated will actually go to the Tifa district. 5% to the Lansing Brownfield Revolving Fund, 5% to the Michigan Brownfield Revolving Fund, and 5% to the Lansing Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, which are admin fees essentially. So respectively, that's $125,000 of pass-through to each. This is expected to create 50 temporary construction jobs, and upon completion, it's expected to retain 60 jobs and create dozens more.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. So we have a public hearing tonight on the Chief Strategy Officer position in consideration to amend Chapter 288, Section 288.21 to provide minimum qualifications for a Chief Strategy Officer. This position was included in a 2019 letter from the financial health team to the mayor and the city council. One of the things that the financial health team suggested was to hire or engage a chief restructuring strategy officer to do a top-down audit of city functions, city business, city departments, and it's all a part of the charge that this financial health team has had in the past to look at our City of Lansing budget to find those budgetary efficiencies to address our long-term liabilities. So this chief strategy officer, it's my understanding, is already hired. So with that, we're going to have the public hearing. I'm sorry. We'll have the public hearing on this, so.
And we will have passage later.
Yes, and we will have passage this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Councilmember Spitzley? Yes, Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. And this is more just to help me with some things that I don't know. So there's somebody hired, but we're changing the minimum qualifications. Can you just put that in context? Whether or not it may affect the new hire, or if we already know the new hire meets these minimum qualifications?
When we put together the requirements for the job application, we use those same requirements in putting together the strategic officer's minimum requirements. So they were done in coordination together, and it's my understanding that the person hired meets those minimum requirements. If they didn't, then they'd have to come before council to have those waived, but they meet those based on the job applications that were sent out. Any other questions? Seeing none, we will start our public comment.
Okay, we have Mitch Rice, followed by Terry Fitzpatrick.
Good evening, Madam President and council members. My name's Mitch Rice. I live in South Lansing. I'm also one of the volunteers on the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I was reviewing the Brownfield building, and I think it's time to try to do something with some buildings, and using the Brownfield and tax increment process is probably what we need to do. And those buildings need to be filled with vibrant things. Hopefully, the plans that will be considered from the developer will infuse some excitement, and the facades will upgrade the way it looks because we need to continue a vibrant downtown and stay competitive in this global market. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Terry Fitzpatrick and then Harold Lehman Jr.
Good evening. I'm Terry Fitzpatrick with the Boji Group, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for allowing us to be here tonight and for consideration of our brownfield plan. I can't really add anything to the summary that was given that describes the project before, except to say that we are very excited to get started on this project immediately. We anticipate this project will be completed by the end of next year, the 1st of January 2021, and our agreement does include a commitment to local and Lansing-based labor. So thank you again for your consideration. I have along with me a couple other representatives, our John Hindu, who is our Vice President, and Jessica DeBone, who is our environmental consultant, if you have any questions for us at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And next, we have Harold Lehman Jr. and then Linda Appling.
Yeah, thank you, Council. Regarding the agenda booklet that's in the back, you didn't have information regarding this proposal on community funding, Lansing Neighborhood Council. So I can't comment on it. And if somebody wants to take my time to explain what's going on, because I think my history is correct, I think 2013, when the mayor at that time made some accusations regarding the neighborhood council, and then it was defunded and that kind of thing. So 5 years, 6 years have passed, so what's going on this issue? Since it's not in the booklet, how can I comment? Is there funding?
When you finish, I'll be glad
Go
to
ahead.
answer those questions. Are you done? Pardon?
Yes.
Okay. This is, Lansing Neighborhood Council is acting as fiduciary for the Harmony Festival. And so you saw the information back there for Harmony Festival, and that's the group that is applying for the community use. And Lansing Neighborhood Council is the fiduciary for that. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Linda
I would
Appling, followed by Mary
I would comment,
Reynolds.
if I can, Ms. President, the neighborhood council, after everything went down, then they were supposed to be put into they went over to a school over in the 4th Ward, 3rd Ward, and so I haven't heard anything about what they're doing of such, but are they an active group now? And if they are, I would like to have some publicity on it, since I thought it was all in-house, that the neighborhood council went away. Why we have this now, helping use it to fund what's going on in the 3rd Ward, the party or whatever. But, you know, with Mayor Bonero leaving and the new mayor and bringing in all this new neighborhood issues, why the neighborhood council is brought up now. I just find it strange. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Linda Appling and then Mary Reynolds.
Hello, my name is Linda Appling, and I reside at 4010 Thacken Drive. I have two issues that I would like to speak on at this point in time. One is the marijuana revision that is currently being considered. I am in favor of legalization of marijuana and essentially have no problem with its legalization or use. However, I am opposed to allowing the selling and distribution within city limits. Frankly, the stuff stinks, and I mean it stinks too. Two, when it is in a large bunch, the smell goes throughout the atmosphere and goes into people's homes, much like a pig farm. Considering these factors alone and the potential impact it will have on children and surrounding communities, and also on my property values, such legislation should be withdrawn, and Lansing should indicate that it will not allow the selling of marijuana within the city limits. Secondly, in terms of an area of concern, on page 4A, and I was unaware of this, item 4A, polling place changes in Ward 3, Precinct 28, Precinct 29, and Precinct 31. I am extremely concerned about this. As most of you should be aware, we live in Eaton County. Our polling place should be in Eaton County. Currently, I vote at Wood Creek. I want to continue voting at Wood Creek. Changing that affects the voter turnout. Not only does it affect the voter turnout, but it affects who is elected in Eaton County. Because remember, our votes go for sheriff in Eaton County. For, I think it's number 71, a state representative in terms of 71. Though you are placing them, if you start changing our polling places, you are placing them in terms of losing their elections. And I'm not kidding. If you take a look at past elections and turnouts, it is related to the nearness of the polling places themselves. I know because I am involved in that particular area. This should be rejected unless you're going to put everybody in Wood Creek. Wood Creek is close and it is convenient. And I make no shams in terms of this. I will also be bringing this to the attention of certain individuals in Eaton County so that they can respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can just address, the polling place changes do not impact the precinct that currently votes at Wood Creek School. That is precinct 23, and that is not impacted by this change.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is Mary Reynolds. Okay. Then
Thank
we
you.
are to the referral of the public hearings. Number 1, the Brownfield Plan,
We'll go back to Development and Planning Committee.
and number 2, the Chief Strategy Officer Ordinance.
That will be acted on this evening.
Then we are to the consent agenda.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the consent agenda B1, A, tribute in recognition of the MATA models for the Cure event, 2, A, B, C, 3, A, B, 4, and 4, A, B, and C.
You're pulling those all off the consent.
No, I'm sorry, I made a I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
So there will be no discussion on any of these items.
I'm having a bad day. I'm sorry.
I think you only want A on the consent agenda, 1A. That's fine.
I do know what I'm doing.
Yes,
I
you
don't know
do.
what just
I know
happened
that.
just now.
So we have a motion for 1A, which is a tribute for models for the Cure event. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. No, that's all right.
So we are to the Committee on Development and Policy.
Councilmember Hussein.
So if you look at items 2, B, and C, I'm going to speak to them collectively, but then I'm going to remove them respectively. They really do speak to the same issue. When we moved the resolution to set the public hearings for the 2 corridor improvement authorities, we included language that described the development area as being within 500 feet of the center line, both north, so 500 feet north of and south of. The problem with this, that works with east and westbound corridors. It does not work with north and southbound corridors, obviously, because you're not moving north from the center line, you're moving east and west. The state statute only requires that we use the following language: within 500 feet of a road. When you look at the Saginaw Corridor Improvement Authority, or the development area, It is an east-west bound corridor. The problem is there are branches that come off and they're north and southbound. And then obviously South MLK is a north-south bound corridor. So what we need to do is I'm going to have to first move the reconsideration of both of these resolutions. And then the change in the language is we're going to actually use 500 feet from the road as outlined in the state statute so that folks aren't confused about this. So again, I'll move these respectively. I need to first move for a reconsideration of Resolution 2019-225, setting a public hearing in consideration of the intent to create North Grand River Avenue Corridor Improvement Authority.
We have a motion to reconsider. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of reconsideration say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
I would now move for consideration of the amended resolution.
We have a motion on the amended resolution. Are there any questions or concerns? My only question would be, this won't change the date of the hearing. Is that correct?
We caught this early enough that the notices removed the north and south, and so this is not going to delay the hearings.
All right, thank you. Just want to make sure that we all understand that. All right, with that, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. The next one, Councilmember Hussein.
Yeah, and real quickly, the public hearings on both of these will be September 23rd, and we want to thank the clerk for catching this language. Thank you very much. I will now move move the reconsideration of Resolution 2019-226, setting a public hearing in consideration of the creation of South MLK Junior Boulevard Corridor Improvement Authority.
All right, we have a motion. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of reconsideration say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Councilmember Hussein.
I'd move for the consideration of the amended resolution.
We have a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, and just to clarify, if anybody's following along closely on the agenda, the SLU relates to zoning ordinance that will be considered later, so we're going to come back to the SLU after the ordinance is considered.
Thank you.
So we're to the Committee on General Services.
Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. Section letter A, community funding from the Lansing Neighborhood Council. It was spoken to a little bit earlier. The Lansing Neighborhood Council is a fiduciary for Lansing Harmony Celebration, which is a community picnic gathering at Benjamin Davis Park. They initially requested $500, and at General Services this morning, we decided to increase that to $1,500 for the reason that they are expecting a large turnout. There's a lot of costs associated with the rentals, and also we learned that each year we have a carryover in that account to accommodate the extra amount, and it passed 2-0 this morning, and we move the request for $1,500.
I have a motion for this request. Again, the Lansing Neighborhood Council is an active nonprofit and has maintained their status as a nonprofit. They do different events. They have been doing Be Christie's. They have been helping other neighborhood groups from time to time. But when Harmony did come and talk to them about being a fiduciary, they agreed to be the fiduciary for Harmony to keep this as a nonprofit. The amount of rental expenses, because this will be going just from one department to the other, was a little over $3,400 in rental expenses, so this is helping to defray those costs. Councilmember Dunbar.
Thank you. Who are they the fiduciary for? What's the organization that's actually making the application? Because normally the fiduciary doesn't apply for the funds. The actual applicant applies for the funds, and then the check is cut to the fiduciary. So who's actually getting the money?
The city's getting the money. There's no money being transferred from
Right. The Lansing Neighborhood Council is a fiduciary for
Harmony
an
Celebration.
organization.
Harmony Celebration is the group.
Okay. Are they a nonprofit?
Councilmember Hussein?
They are not an official nonprofit, and that's why they need the fiduciary.
How come they
answers
didn't
your
make the
question.
application?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Fiduciaries don't make application. How come they didn't make the application? There's never been a case that I know of where the fiduciary actually requested the funds.
Maybe the group wasn't certain as to how to navigate the process. I don't know.
It passed through general services the way it was written. We felt that it met the needs
Okay.
that happened in the general services committee.
Okay.
Okay? Seeing any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. The next item is a liquor license transfer of the stock interest through the transfer of stock from the corporation to new and existing stockholders for Marsh Mavericks at 523 East Shiawassee Street. My understanding is that whenever there is a transfer of a liquor license, that the stock transfer must be placed on file with the city, and I would move that we place it on file.
You're moving the resolution,
I'll move
correct?
the
All right, thank you. We have motion on the resolution. Are there any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to the Committee of the Whole.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. The first thing we have before us is resolution for polling place changes. The clerk provided a overview for us during Committee of the Whole because of anticipation of a large turnout for the 220 election and also to make it more accessible for our voters. The clerk has proposed to move Ward 3, Precinct 30 will be moved from Averill School to the Tabernacle of David Church, located at 2645 West Holmes Road. Tabernacle Church currently serves as a polling place for Ward 3, Precinct 29. Also, Ward 3, Precinct 28 and Precinct 31 will be moved from Elmhurst School and Luton Schools respectively to Dwight Rich Middle School located at 2600 Hampton Drive. And again, the move is to accommodate an anticipated large number of voters, but also to make it a little bit more comfortable for our residents voting. Dwight Rich has a larger space, better parking, as does Tabernacle of David. And with that, I move the resolution.
We have a motion on the resolution. Are there any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. The next item on deck is for the Executive Management Group. Resolution to amend the fringe benefits for the Executive Management Group and approve amendments to the defined contribution plan. The changes will affect only the Executive Management Group employees, including the city assessor and treasurer, who are hired into the Executive Management Group position on or after 26.
Yes. That's what committee of the whole did, change to
Okay.
26.
So the resolution, so it is August 26th. The resolution in my packet says August 1st, so I apologize. It's on or after August 26th. That's correct. The new employees will not be eligible for membership and benefits under the employment retirement system. They will go into a defined contribution plan. And with that, I move the resolution.
And the resolution and the executive management plan?
yes.
Plan. All right. We have a motion on that, and again, as was discussed by the administration, if the person is come up through the ranks
Right.
and is in a defined benefit plan, they will not
They will not
be
lose.
forced
Right.
to lose the defined benefit.
That's correct.
And the mayor is shaking his head. So with that,
Saying
any
that's
other
correct.
questions?
Yeah.
Member Mayor Shore.
Yeah, I do want to, I want to verbally say that that is correct. And the good example is Chief Green. He came up through the ranks, and we told him, this is not going to affect you. You know, it wouldn't have affected Director Kilpatrick. It wouldn't have affected Brett Kaczynski. So this is just new people coming into the city.
Mr. City Attorney.
I just want to be sure that the record reflects the dates. There are two dates in this resolution that should be changed. August 26th should be the correct date in both places.
And when we had this in committee, we had this discussion then and changed them. I'm not sure why it didn't get changed for this one out here. But when this was discussed in the committee, we were well aware that it was the 26th, okay?
So
All
the
right.
resolution is moved with the date of August 26th, 2019.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. The next thing we have before us is a settlement for workers' compensation claim WC 206-2876-01055. This is a claim for injury that occurred while on the job. The claim is for $70,000. The person is at this point, on duty disability and is no longer working for the city of Lansing. Duty disability retirement and is no longer working for the city of Lansing. With that, I move the resolution.
We have a motion on the resolution. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. We're now to our 6 vote items.
Yes, we are to the 6 vote items. First, the Committee on Ways and Means.
Councilmember Spitzley, you've got the floor tonight.
I know, a chance to redeem myself. What we have before us is a grant acceptance from the National League of Cities, J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, grant for cities addressing fines and fees equitably. This is going through the Neighborhoods and Citizens Engagement Office of Financial Empowerment. What this is it's a grant given to cities to look at their fines and fees program and to see whether or not they're being assessed equitably. This grant came from one of the extensions of the Ferguson incident and some of the allegations there about inadequate application of fees. What the grant is going to be used for is data analysis, looking at ordinance violations, specifically failure to yield and failure to stop. They're going to map neighborhoods by race and gender. The grant was initially going to be used for personnel, and it was discovered that there's a lot of variations in the grant, and so at this point we're looking at contracting with a software vendor to mine the data. One of the questions that was asked during Ways and Means was why can't we do that in-house through our own IT? We were told that we initially talked to our IT department. Our IT tried to mine the data in-house, but they weren't able to do that, and thus we were going out for using a software vendor. The data then will be used by a contracted MSU person to review it. Only 10 cities were chosen for the grant. The grant also gives free technical assistance. It's a grant for $10,000, $2,000 of goods and services, and that $2,000 is the facilitation of focus groups with local residents. The $8,000 is to assist in mining the data and a subcontract to a graduate student at Michigan State University to review the data and write the report. With that, I will move the resolution. Oh, the grant does not require a local match, and it also once this $10,000 grant, there is additional funds up to $30,000 available for Phase 2. So this is Phase 1 of mining the data and compiling the data, and then there is a Phase 2 of which the cities can receive an additional $30,000. With that, I move the resolution.
A motion on the resolution. Are there any questions, concerns? Councilmember Washington.
What is Phase 2?
I don't know what Phase 2 is. I apologize. I don't have that information.
Councilmember Dunbar.
Thank you. If I remember correctly, it's like an exploratory portion and then an implementation portion. So they're going to be studying all different departments. It's not, I mean, police is low-hanging fruit for a lot of communities, but it's a lot of departments to see if there are any disparities in fines and fees, and a lot of that's related to violations. So are we disproportionately affecting certain populations? Is there some mitigation that can be done to, so the actual process, the solution phase is Phase 2.
Yes.
So it's identifying the problem, because you never know what the problem is going to be. Every community has a different problem that sort of rises to the top. And then the second phase is $30,000 to help with the correction.
We also talked about other departments that should be a part of this conversation. You know, they were talking to grants, they were talking to the court system because, you know, the courts are the ones that are, you know, adjudicating the fees. But we also made sure, you know, we talked about contact with the city attorney's office, contact with LPD. You know, those are kind of, you know, LPD is kind of the first line when they're assessing a ticket or whatever, and so we wanted to make sure that they looped in LPD also as part of the discussion.
Are there other questions or concerns? Councilmember Dunbar.
One of the other things I think is important to note is that they talked about how it might even, some of the change might not be necessarily correcting a problem, but aiding in the collection of data in the future. So maybe we change the way that we collect data and we divide more out specific in the realm of gender or specific ethnicities as far as how we track, because sometimes we can't. And there was another comment that I had that I completely forgot in answering that question.
Thank you. Are there other questions or concerns? The only thing I would add to this conversation is hopefully part of the discussion was the fact that we are under the state constitution is how we can assess fines, and that we have to be able to make sure that we are that we have a work plan that shows that we have for employees, for their equipment, for all of those things. We just don't pick a number out of the air. So hopefully that was part of a discussion that was.
It wasn't about changing the fines
Right.
necessarily. It was identifying disproportionate populations that are affected by certain things and then trying to work with.
Or whether that exists. The issue is to make sure that we're assessing the fines equitably. And so, you know, that's really the gist of it. It's not that there is a problem, but it's kind of an audit to make sure there isn't a problem.
All right, thank you. Other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes unanimously. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. What we have before us is a supplemental appropriation for the Townsend Street parking ramp proceeds for the floodplain remapping project. If you recall, a few months ago, it was brought to our attention that there was going to be a floodplain remapping along the Red Cedar, and Councilmember Washington correctly expressed concern that a lot of the folks in that area are most distressed and least able to handle an additional assessment. Even though the floodplain mapping could result in a benefit, but the assessment, you know, was concerning because those folks probably couldn't afford the additional assessment. In addition, the small businesses over there are also struggling, and so we had talked to the administration to basically find a different way. We recognized that it was an important thing, we just didn't The concern was the assessment. And so we had recently sold the city Townsend parking ramp, and we had some additional funding, and so those funds were used to address those residents and those small businesses. However, we forgot that we are also going to be assessed, and did not include that amount in the previous resolution. So this resolution correctly adds in the city of Lansing's dollar amount, which is $60,800 to be paid through the city of Lansing's proceeds from the sale of the Townsend parking ramp. So with that, I move the resolution.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other questions or concerns on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Yes, Councilmember Dunbar.
If I may, I think, I'm just going to go back for 1 second to explain a part of that grant that I think we didn't. With regard to the fines, it's not just about who is disproportionately affected by the fines. It's by how the fines themselves, because this is run through the Office of Financial Empowerment, it's how the fines themselves, if they can't be paid by certain folks, end up creating a cycle of imprisonment, because you are never able to get your driver's license, you can't pay to get it reinstated, you can't pay this, you can't pay that. And so it was also looking at alternative solutions that we can use through the courts in adjudication if we know we're gonna be bleeding a stone and that's gonna create a perpetual sequence of costs to us for incarceration. Can we use community service and their skill set somewhere as an alternative for that too? I think that was a huge part of it, and
I agree.
It's more than just about the fines.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we are to ordinances for introduction. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, providing for the rezoning of a parcel of real property located in the City of Lansing, Michigan, and for the revision of the district maps adopted by Section 1246.02 of the Code of Ordinances, Z5 2019, 521 West Hillsdale Street, from DM4 Residential District to D1 Professional Office District, was introduced by the Committee on Development and Planning, read a first time by its title, and referred to the Committee on Development and Planning.
Councilmember Hussein.
First, want to thank the applicant, Mr. Sean Watson, for enduring what really has become a very long afternoon and evening. He was with us earlier in development and planning. He has actually endured the first hour of this meeting so that he could take questions after maybe a brief overview of the what he's trying to essentially do with this property. So I'm going to invite Mr. Watson down into the well. So once you come on down, I'm going to ask you to actually pass these double doors, and you can take a seat right here. And while he's doing that, I'll give you just a little bit of background on the property and the request. So again, the applicant in this case is Sean Watson. He is asking for a rezone from DM4 residential. DM4 residential allows for the highest density when we're talking about multifamily. So typically, it's used for high-rise dwellings and the like. He is requesting a rezone to D1 professional office, and he will talk just a little bit about that in terms of what he sees actually being put in that space in just a moment. The surrounding land use and the surrounding zoning. To the north, we have single and two-family residential, and it is zoned DM4 residential. To the south, we have two-family residential, and it is zoned DM4 residential. To the east, we have vacant property. It is zoned D1 professional office. And to the west, we have a vacant property, and it is zoned D2 professional office. There are, in your supplemental materials folder, there are maps and other background information on this request. In terms of the master plan, this property is designated for downtown mixed-use center edge, which the purpose of that is to support the downtown area by allowing a mix of uses and to enhance the quality of the pedestrian environment, things of that nature, maintain presence of older historic buildings, and provide for transition in building height and use intensity to new downtown neighborhoods. Plan lists typical uses for this designation as office. Planning did give a positive recommendation based on current land use in the area, as well as compliance with the master plan. The planning board did support this unanimously. And at this point, the public hearing would be September 23rd. But before I actually move to set that public hearing for September 23rd, I'd like to introduce Mr. Sean Watson and ask that he just give us a brief overview of his stake in this property and what he would like to do with this rezone.
And sir, before you begin, if you'd make sure that the green light is on, bright green. Okay, we're good. All right, thank you.
All right, yeah, I bought this property, and was fixing it up from the auction. And my lawyer had came over and seen it. He was moving from his office and went inside and seen that he had liked it. I contacted the inspector's office or zoning office to see about getting it switched, and they said that there shouldn't be any problem with it. So I started going through with the inspectors to do the proper work to make it to the into a law office.
Okay, are there other questions for the applicant? I guess one of the questions I would have is, in looking at the picture, do you believe there's going to be adequate enough parking?
Yes,
for
there's
this?
parking on one side of the street. There isn't a lot of activity, driving activity for the law firm.
Okay,
One client at a time, maybe two.
all right.
But there is a driveway and there is parking on the street.
And so the entire building will be office professional?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Hussein.
And in terms of our zoning administrator and the planning board, there was some conversation about parking, and what factored into the decision is the fact that the adjacent properties are vacant. There was some discussion about how those properties could at some point be acquired and combined, and I don't know how practical that is, but that discussion item was broached, and that was kind of how they solved that and how they factored that into their decision-making.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President, and I appreciate you being here. I guess for me, I'm just trying to figure out, I'm looking at the recommendation, and, you know, it says it's, you know, they recommend approval based on the findings of fact as outlined. You know, they're basically saying it's consistent with the land use pattern being advanced in the master plan and with zoning and land use patterns already established in this area. But isn't this a residential neighborhood?
There's kind of an eclectic mix in that area. If you look at that side of the street, there is quite a bit of D1 professional office. The conversation did get brought up. We've talked about this a number of times. And you got to make sure you're looking at the right, so that you actually have a color key there and things of that nature. There was a property back in 2008 that was rezoned to D1 professional office from residential. And so the conversation came up in committee, and this committee has been diligent in looking at rezone requests and asking the question, can this be used in the future to argue for additional rezoning? And to be honest with you end up getting this piecemeal rezone kind of, and we end up changing our zoning maps completely through these requests. It was acknowledged that has happened in this area. However, we are at a place right now where on that side of the street, the adjacent property is D1 professional office. Both adjacent properties.
And there's residential across the street, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. And maybe when I stepped out, you all already talked about this, but this zoning would also make it available that should this attorney want to have his office on the first floor and live upstairs, that could be done. So it could still be used for 2 units of residential down the road or for a work-living situation.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would you like to move the public hearing?
I would.
Okay. Yes. Do you have your mic on?
No. The spots that are rezoned to D1 professional office are vacant, right? Yes. Although 527 is a house there on the end, and that's, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hussein.
I would move Z5 2019 to set a public hearing for September 23rd.
All right, we have a motion to set the public hearing. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have one opposed. It passes for setting the public hearing for the 23rd. So we will be having this public hearing, sir, on the 23rd at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay. We are still on introduction of ordinances. Councilmember Washington introduced an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan to amend the Lansing codified ordinances by amending Chapter 288, Section 288.18 to eliminate the minimum qualifications for the Director of Management Services, as no such position exists in the city. The ordinance is read a first time by its title and referred to the Committee on General Services.
Councilmember Washington. This was done when he was not at that committee meeting. This was not done today. This was this is the repeal.
Okay, what we have before us is a consideration for a public hearing to repeal Chapter 288 to eliminate the minimum qualifications for the Director of Management Services because no position exists within the city. With that, I would move the resolution to set the public hearing for September 9th.
We have a motion. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay. We are to ordinances for passage. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan, providing for the rezoning of a parcel of real property located in the City of Lansing, Michigan, and for the revision of the district maps adopted by Section 1246.02 of the Code of Ordinances. Z3 2019 835 West Genesee Street from C Residential District to DM1 Residential District is read a second time by its title. The ordinance was reported from the Committee on Development and Planning and is on the order of immediate passage.
Councilmember Hussein.
Sure, so we've actually had a public hearing on this. The applicant in this case is Mike Markey. He is on hand of 835 Genesee LLC. This location is home to the old Genesee Street School. He is requesting the rezone to allow for up to 36 efficiency apartments. In terms of surrounding land use and zoning, to the north, to the east, to the west, and to the south, we have single family and 2 residential family use, and all the adjacent properties are Zone C residential. In terms of the master plan, the designated subject property, it's medium low density residential use. The building, a little bit of history in terms of the building, was constructed in 1910. It was a school up until 1987. Since then, we've had a number of nonprofits, from Black Child and Family Institute to Bridging the Digital Divide. I think most recently we had Michigan Placemakers in that particular building. In any event, with regards to the planning department, they have recommended approval. Again, in terms of factoring into the decision-making, they said that there's really an eclectic use of zoning in the area, or kind of an eclectic mixture, and they don't believe that this would necessarily create any disruption of land use. The planning board voted unanimously. There was a dissenting voice. Our understanding is that there were a number of residents that showed up to the planning board's public hearing. There was one dissenting voice, Bob Johnson, our old planning and development director. He had concerns. Historically, he's actually a neighbor of this property. He said that historically, whenever we've had a use go into that building that was not a school use, we've had just a number of issues, from blaring loud music to there were just a number of things referenced in committee. With that being said, the planning board decided to support this unanimously. We have a number of committee members have met with Mike to discuss kind of his vision for this property. There were some concerns that were broached in committee pertaining to other developments in the city and things of that nature, but ultimately the committee did vote to support this and move it out of committee for a vote tonight. So with that being said, I would move Z3 2019 835 West Genesee Street for a rezone from C Residential District to DM1 Residential District.
Are there any questions or concern? Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. My vote was to move it out of committee. It wasn't necessarily for support.
Are there any other questions or concerns? As a neighbor and having some of the neighbors reach out to me, I am concerned about the this particular developer and some of the uses that he has in other parts of the community. And so I will not be supporting this rezoning. Are there any other questions? It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. That was exactly the conversation that we had in committee.
Thank you.
On passage of the ordinance, Councilmember Dunbar? Councilmember Garza? Yes. Councilmember Hussein? Yes. Councilmember Jackson? Yes. Councilmember Spitzley? Yes. Councilmember Washington?
With hesitation, yes.
Councilmember Wood?
No.
6 yeas, 1 nay. The ordinance is adopted.
Again, because this is a zoning ordinance, it takes 30 days, so we do not do immediate effect. That takes us back to the special land use, and so I go back to Councilmember Hussein.
The SLU request that is before you for consideration is to allow for recreational athletic purposes, community use purposes in that gym at 835 West Genesee Street. It has been used for similar purposes over the last several years in connection with a number of nonprofits that have actually been housed there. Essentially what this SLU would do is kind of memorialize and make legal that use in perpetuity. It is a condition of this SLU that the applicant will be, in fact, responsible for management and maintenance and things of that nature of that area. So with that being said, I would move the SLU for 835 West Genesee Street.
We have a motion. Councilmember Washington, or excuse me, Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam
Just
President.
looking right at you.
Yeah. So this is in the same building that he's going to be turning into the apartments. He's just going to allow a portion of that building to be used as a neighborhood center? Is that what I'm understanding?
This, again, this is an old school, so there's
Yeah.
a gymnasium.
Yeah, right.
And so that is the portion that would be allowed for that use.
Is there going to be some sort of demarcation between the apartments for like I'm just curious, for security, or how is this going to work?
Yes, you can come to the microphone, sir.
If I may, quite frankly, there's a very distinct building of the school that was built in 1910, very distinct. Somebody came in the 50s and put a gymnasium to the east that is not very well designed. It doesn't go with the building at all. So yes, there is a demarcation between where the apartment / old school is and the existing gymnasium. It is very clear from both the exterior and the interior. You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, because this is not zoning, this is special land use, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, and back to passage of ordinance. We have an ordinance of the City of Lansing, Michigan to amend the Lansing codified ordinances by amending Chapter 288, Section 288.21 to provide minimum qualifications for a chief strategy officer is read a second time by its title. The ordinance was reported from the Committee of the Whole and is on the order of immediate passage.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Madam President. So we've talked about this. We had the public hearing this evening. This chief strategy officer was a recommendation by the financial health team. The qualifications are the minimum qualifications that we are looking for the chief strategy officer. And with that, I'll move the resolution.
We have a motion on the ordinance. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
On passage of the ordinance, Councilmember Dunbar. Councilmember Garza. Yes. Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Spitzley. Councilmember Washington. Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays. The ordinance is adopted.
Councilmember Spitzley, would you like immediate effect?
Move, yes, ma'am, move for immediate effect.
Have a motion for immediate effect. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay, we are to speaker registration for public comment on city government-related matters. That's the yellow sheet in the back. If you want to sign in, please step up immediately and get signed in. And in the meantime, we're to reports of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I move that all matters be considered as being read in full and that the proper referrals be made by you, Madam President.
Have a motion. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Mr. Clerk.
We have a letter from the city clerk regarding fireworks display for the lug nuts on September 28th.
General Services.
Letters from the mayor regarding workers' compensation claim settlement.
Committee of a whole and placed on file.
Supplemental appropriation, Townsend parking ramp proceeds.
Committee of a whole and placed on file.
Grant acceptance, Michigan Department of Great Lakes and Energy Recycling Infrastructure Grant.
Ways and Means and Internal Auditor.
Resolution from the Board of Public Services regarding Michigan's transportation infrastructure.
Public Service Committee.
In communications and petitions, we have an affidavit of disclosure, Andrew Watkeys, Lansing Police Officer.
And that would go to the Ethics Board.
We are to motion of excused absence.
Councilmember Spitzley. Councilmember Spitzley. We have a motion to. You were. The beginning and the end. It was everything in between. You got fine. It was the beginning and the end. All right. With that, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Mr. Speaker.
Okay, the first speaker is Michael Harms, followed by Michael Cornelius.
Oh, should we have done councilmember remarks before?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You picked up.
It's
You picked up.
contagious.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry, I skipped council member remarks.
Are there any council member remarks at this time?
My only remarks is that Pat's not allowed to speak.
Remarks by the mayor?
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Now
all
we're
right,
good.
Mr. Harms.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you. My name is Michael Harms. I reside at 741 Agnew Road in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am an organizer and an international representative for the Amalgamated Transit Union. I was here on the 12th discussing some of the problems we're having with CATA subcontractor Transdev. I'm not going to take up much time because we have workers that are actually going to speak to the council. The one thing I do want to let you folks know is we were sitting with Transdev last Tuesday and Wednesday, and a 24-year-old wet behind the ear human resources officer looked at us across the table and basically told us that workers that are working 45, 50, 55, 60 hours a week sometimes need to learn how to better control their spending habits. Now, myself, that's the most disgusting thing that I think I've ever heard come out of a human resources manager, and I've seen a lot of them in my day. I don't know, again, how the city of Lansing allows a $6 billion a year net income, billion-dollar a year corporation come in here, this town, and treat its workers that way. I'm asking you guys, I gave packets out last week, on the 12th. Please, look into what Transdev is. Look into what the assignments and deposit fund actually is, and look into the Refman Group. The Refman Group is it's a 34% stakeholder in Transdev. It's a German multi-billion, $18 billion a year conglomerate. It's not right that we're sitting here, again, today, asking for help. And Mayor, I know that you guys do not control CATA, but you do have appointments. We are coming to you with hat in hand to ask Transdev to sit down and negotiate living wages, real health care, and end the heavy-handed management tactics that they enjoy using every day on our workers. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Michael Cornelius, and then Annie Burton. Burton?
It's close enough. Hello, my name is Michael Cornelius. I work for the International President in Washington, D.C. Maybe about a month ago, I don't know if it was that long ago, there was all these folks came and sat before you, and it made it to YouTube. And that made it to the international office. And first of all, you're doing a fine job. You're doing a fine job tonight. You're having some, but you guys are all doing a good job, and we certainly appreciate what you're doing. But like you, we advocate for workers. And what we're looking to do is for workers to be treated fairly on the job. And the issue that Brother Harms just raised with you was related to TransDev's demand that employees contribute to the 401k plan. And so I walked them through this scenario, how one of their workers, real life story, pays about $4,200 a year in premium costs. And this person also has a $12,900 maximum out-of-pocket expense. And for mathematicians on the council, you'll probably know that at $15 an hour, that's half of her income, gross income. And, you know, I mean no disrespect, but you're partially responsible for this. You know, I go to council meetings all over the country. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I hear we can't get involved, and your attorney will fall out of his seat if I ask you to get involved. However, you are involved because you signed the contract. You went through a procurement process, and you're not requiring TransDev to uphold their commitments. One of the commitments in your revenue agreement, which I've read cover to cover, and I'm one of those nerds that reads all 800 pages of revenue agreements, is that they are required to pay competitive wages and benefits. And as I understand it, only a portion of the CATA service is privatized, which is a disease in and of itself. But so if it's competitive and you have CATA workers who are not private, they're your employees, making roughly $26 an hour, why are you allowing, you have a contract with them, TransDev, to pay their workers $15 an hour? I don't know what world that is that's competitive. I don't think it is. Not the world I come from. So when they explained to us that this lady, she just needs to control her spending better. Well, when I walked her through this, I said, well, this lady at the end of the year is about $900 short a month on her income. That's a net negative shortage every single month to figure out how to feed her kids, to figure out how to pay for bills, to figure out how to pay the rent. And then, of course, the idea is that, well, privatization saves cities money. It doesn't, because that person now has to go on and get government assistance at the request of your HR manager. Well, just go get government assistance. The taxpayers will pay for it. So when you say that we're saving money through taxpayer dollars, you're not, because those folks who are living in poverty, who live in your community, have to go get government assistance to subsidize that. I might go over just a moment. Just have to bear with me a little bit. I'll ask somebody not to speak. But just one last thing. TransDev doesn't live here. She lives here.
Okay.
She raises her children here. TransDev doesn't raise their children here. They buy local goods. TransDev doesn't buy local goods. They take them. So we ask you to get involved. We ask you to tell TransDev to meet the terms of your revenue agreement. And from the International President, we're watching and we're not going anywhere.
I appreciate it. Just for, no, we don't applaud. We let you do that the last time, but our decorum does not allow that at this point. Michael, the one thing I do want to clarify, I realize that you go around the country. This particular jurisdiction, the CATA is an authority that has been set up. We have members that are appointed to that authority. They enter into contracts independently. Council does not oversee those contracts, nor do we have any jurisdiction over those contracts. Yes, there is a CATA millage that our residents pay. There's also transportation dollars that come from the federal government that go to CATA. So we do have the ability to ask questions, but again, it is an independent authority other than the fact that we appoint appointees to sit on that board. So, and we only appoint, we have 4 that are appointed from the Lansing area. So we have asked the mayor to reach out. He has talked to 2 of those appointees. We are taking this matter very seriously, so thank you. Our next speaker.
We have Annie Burton and then Mary Mullins.
Hello, I'm Annie Burton. I've been working for this TransDev for 18 years. I'm coming here tonight because of the harassment that I have on my job. I'm trying to make it to retirement. They are following you. The things that they're doing is just unacceptable. Today I was followed, pulled over, asked for my driver's license and my DOT. I never had this problem, never before until TransDev came in town. This is a problem for me. It's raising my blood pressure. I don't know what to do. I'm at the end of my ropes here. This is an everyday thing. If they're not following you, they're turning on the cameras, watching you. This is not right. It's not right at all for us to be under these conditions. It's bad enough driving, trying to be safe with your riders. This has got to stop. We need help. We need you all to help us, because I don't know what else to do. It just can't go on like this, you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mary Mullins and then Mitch Rice.
My name is Mary Mullins, and I have worked for the paratransit system for approximately 4 years. Myself and several other people that work within this system, we love our jobs. We don't like going to work anymore. Why? Because we get, as Annie said, harassed. We have senior drivers that have far more seniority than I do, that are ready to quit. Why? Because they're being constantly, well, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. It's all your fault. No matter what we do, it's our fault. We need help in that area to make them understand we're human beings. We love our jobs. We love the kids that we take care of. The poorest part of your community is on us. And we need you to help us be able to take care of them, because we do like what we do. I enjoy going and picking up a child that hasn't spoke to me in 2 years because he's not, doesn't do it. He spoke to me. I almost danced when I got to work because I came in and I said, James, talk to me. I had a full-blown conversation with a kid who actually was excited, and he talked to me. That means something to us, and we need some support from people who I call the normals. You're the normals, and we need your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mitch Rice and then Linda Appling.
Thank you again, Madam President and Council. I do have one that I was going to make a comment on, didn't read the agenda correctly. I know you're going to have a public hearing on the MLK corridor and the other, making an authority. And being in South Lansing and looking at the process of how we can improve how our city looks on our main thoroughfares, I think I'm in support of the idea that we are going to take a more concerted plan in some of those areas. There's all kinds of transitions that happen in the city, and I know there's been a lot that has been done in the Michigan thoroughfare corridor, trying to make everything consistent. It's just going to help us grow, and if we can get the right people and a real coalition and grassroots and the right investment, it's going to improve our city. I know that they're working on improving the road in that area, which is a great thing as well. The last thing I wanted to mention was reading through the agenda. There was some resolutions related to asking and pushing a similar resolution that was done by, I guess, East Lansing or some other authorities about telling the state we need our road money and that holding it up. And cities are stuck. And I've been in city government before, and I know how much revenue sharing has been taken away and how they move that money. And so if we can make a push from the city of Lansing, I think it's a good thing. If we were going to do something to have a great petition drive, I'd sign it. But thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next is Linda Appling and then Loretta Stanaway.
Hello. Once again, my name is Linda Appling, and I reside at 4010 Thacken Drive in the city of Lansing. First, I'm here in terms of the corner of Sheffield and Bayview. This was modified for handicapped access. It's a corner right there. And if you come down Sheffield and turn to your right and look at your left, and also I think on your right, you will see the areas that were modified. When replanting occurred, in terms of the grass, only weeds grew up, and I do mean weeds, in those locations. I have no idea why in the world the city would expend a tremendous amount of money in terms of making that area handicapped access, and in resurfacing the roads, and then cheap out in terms of grass and plant nothing but weeds there. I was quite upset about that, quite upset. Why should my money be going for these weeds? I mean, it would seem to me the city could afford enough money to actually buy grass seeds and plant grass seeds rather than the weeds that they had that are coming up. The people at the locations in terms of the house did cut down the weeds. However, they are starting to grow back. And I see no reason why the city has to cheap out and not buy real grass seeds. I really don't. It makes no sense to me. Why are you being so cheap? The second issue I would raise concerns mail date for receipt of taxes by the city. The city requires taxes to be in by the due date. It no longer goes by the date mailed. I note City Council has never approved this change, and I also note that I have brought this issue up before. It is Council's responsibility to approve such changes. This is not a policy issue. It significantly impacts taxpayers in this city, especially since it takes about 6 days for mail to be delivered, even if it is mailed from within the city. And that I realize is the federal government's fault because the mail has to go all the way to Grand Rapids and then come back. It is time City Council took back its authority from administration and did something for the residents of the city.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. We have Loretta Stanaway and then Mary Reynolds.
Just a couple of quick things. First off, on the Townsend Ramp money transfer, I support the change, but it would have been very helpful to be told where the money initially was going to go to and now will not go to that and instead go to this. That would have been nice to know. Second, I'm here in support of the drivers and the workers for CATA. We do. Every, 4 years, I think, they come to us for millage, and we pay it, and it gets voted in every time. And I'll tell you, every time that I can remember, there have been threats, if you will, made by the administration of CATA that if that millage doesn't pass, they're going to cut the handicap services. That is always the fruit they hang over our heads. Well, some of us are smart enough to know that with the federal dollars they get, they cannot keep the federal dollars and cut the handicap services. Yet they still continually use that as a beating wand or whatever to induce the public to vote to pass the millages. These people My sister uses this service. She used it today to get from her adult foster care home to the dentist and then back home again. I have never encountered a rude or a disrespectful or an unprofessional person helping her get on or off of that bus or driving that bus. They need our support. If you cannot directly impact things because it's an authority that you only appoint people to, get the ears of those people that you have appointed. And if they're not listening, and if they're not doing their jobs, and if they're not backing these workers, then you need to be appointing other persons to those posts. The millages, the federal dollars, those all come back down in the end to us. Everything starts with us. You don't get to state dollars, you don't get to federal dollars without starting with residents on the ground at home. Keep that in mind. Elections are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Reynolds.
I'm getting old, you guys. Tonight, I am real old. Hi, guys. Hang on to the podium. Couple things going on. Really got to put it. I don't know what you can do. Mayor, I don't know what you can do. It has to be more than 4 people you can talk to. This CATA thing is totally out of whack. I know I'm not the only person in the city of Lansing that thinks at 85 I'm one swinging chick because I can go anywhere I want to, anytime I want to, because all I got to do is pick up CATA. And they take me anywhere, and they're my kids. They make sure I get in and out. And you think this was good? You ought to see me get in and out of a CATA. But they make sure I don't get hurt. They make sure everything's fine. And it's important. You can hit 80, 75 and 80 and think, oh, God, I'm getting old. But then when you can go anywhere you want to, and your kids tell you you can't, and you can just say, see you later, and hang up the phone, and you're not there when they get there, that's a very big feather in your cap, and it makes you feel like, dang, that's good. They can't boss me around no more. And it's really important for the seniors, It's important for the handicapped kids, too. Don't get me wrong. It's very important for them. But for us seniors, and more, I think if you really kept the tallies, you'd find out more and more seniors are using it every day. And I think you'll find that that's one of the biggest reasons seniors are living longer. They've got methods and ways to go out and do things and be with not just old people. We get to be with young people. And other than that, you're doing pretty good. And if I could remember what it was, I would tell you what I thought you could do a little better at. But you're unfortunate tonight because I can't remember what it was. But you go out there and you take care of yourselves. Be careful because you're going into, this crazy weekend where everybody thinks that the world's coming to an end if they don't run away for 3 days. So you be careful. We'll see you when you get back here. Okay?
Thank you. Councilmember Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say something really quickly to the folks that are here in distress. I spent over 25 years working in nursing homes, taking care of the most vulnerable in our society. And I learned the hardcore truth that our culture has very little respect for our most vulnerable people, the handicapped and the elderly, and they have very little respect for the people that work with them. So with me, you got a partner. I know how hard it is. My coworkers were expected to do a 401k, pay health insurance, have no sick time and no pension, all on $12 an hour. It's impossible. And your clients deserve respect, and so do you. So hang strong, and we will stay with the mayor and make sure that he gets some information from our appointees on the CATA board.
Thank you. Are there any others? Seeing none, we hope everybody has a nice Labor Day weekend. We will be closed on Monday. So with that, we are adjourned.